Hey everybody, how you doing? So today's Bell's Let's Talk Day in Canada, and it's where Bell, the company, has created a campaign to speak about mental health and mental health awareness. One of the things that I like to share is mental health is one of those things that it's not a one day thing. It's not let's share a post and talk about it today. Mental health is something it's just it's so real, and especially with everything that's going on with COVID right now, there are so many individuals out there that are going through their own mental health and mental health struggles. I know myself as well. During COVID, I've dealt with a lot of like dark places and demons and things that are just been uprising because your normal routine and the normal things that you do, they've been kind of put a hold, and what we've been left is just more ways to reflect. So the reason I wanted to do this post was to talk about different things that we can use during this time to help us with it. And one of the key things that I found to be very helpful for me is journaling. Now, what is journaling? When we think of journaling, we think about grabbing a book, pen, and writing it. But journaling is self expression and expressing yourself however you choose. Journaling could be making a video. Journaling could be dancing. It could be art. It could be whatever it is. It's just a way to more express the internal part of ourselves. One of the things that I remember when I first started journaling, or back in the day, I used to say writing a diary, and then now it's more journaling, um, was the idea of I was so afraid that when I wrote in my journal, that somebody would take this journal and read it, that I actually censored myself. I made sure that if a hypothetical person was going to read this, I'm going to write it in a way that they won't think I messed up. But what did that do internally to me? That made it made me feel a little more messed up. It's like I didn't give myself the permission to be who I wanted to be because I was afraid that somebody would read it and judge me on that. And that weighs down on you. That weighs down on your heart, that weighs down your soul. It's almost like even in your moments of silence or in your moments of um, solitude, when you're by yourself, it's like we still don't give ourselves the right, we still don't give ourselves the permission to be who we are and express how we want. And if we do that, what's interesting is we feel that we're a little messed up. Like, oh, what's wrong with me? Yet at the same time, nothing. At the same time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of us. And when I did a talk earlier today with one of the people that's actually on this live, I shared with them a journal entry. This was one of the first journal entries that I actually wrote where I just said, I'm just going to write it. I have so much inside of myself that I just want to get out and express that it's time, instead of worrying what other people think about me, it's time to listen to myself and to realize, what have I been thinking about myself? Why have I not been giving myself permission? Why have I been holding myself back from being who I am in front of myself? Like being in a cage with yourself. So I actually found this post, this post, everything's a post these days, all the things electronic. I found this journal entry that I wrote a long time ago, and I just wanted to share it with everybody. And this journal entry is called Long Awaited Thoughts to Pour Out. And I wrote this actually in May 11th, 2011. And after looking into so many journal entries of stop thoughts, of fear of judgment, I just said, let's just do it. So this is how the journal entry goes. I'm a fake, I'm a liar, and this is my story. Since I was young, I always felt I needed to live up to something, whether it be a man, a situation, a friend, a parent. I felt as a whole, I was never complete, that I was missing something. This is why I started to write this, to get everything down on paper. To write this, but not to stop to think twice of my views, but to pour out my head and my heart the way they want me to. You know, life is funny. No haha funny, more of an awkward situation funny. We all laugh. I think to disguise something, maybe a void or a gap in our lives that needs to be filled with the sound or the feeling laughter brings. We all laugh, and when we do it, it brings us back to a point of time in our lives that we regretted, messed up, screwed up, and made a mistake. It is in this laughter that we find peace in the moment and able to fill it up with something. Though, as the laughter fades, so does the once filled gap, and we end up not fully, but sometimes back in the back of our minds, feel for the moment that something, a feeling that we covered up with that laughter, something that stayed with us no matter how many times we laughed at it. The void we feel, I think, is normal. It's what helps push us to ask questions, reflect, and move on. It's the thought of feeling whole that questions us what is actually missing. It comes from what? What should I have done? What could I do? I wonder if things were different. Questions like these motivate us and push us in directions towards self-fulfillment or self-destruction. It's this kind of motivational tools, thoughts, and ideas that can sometimes kickstart, put things into neutral or park. It's the things deep down inside us, our life experience, feelings, thoughts, and actions that form, that help to create void, which makes us who we are. This still goes on for a few more pages. Optimism, pessimism, social, antisocial, introverted, extroverted are some of the labels in life we live by, and makes us take roles in society. What if we were to take away these labels that society has mentally and physically put on us by taking a second to close our eyes, look deep inside ourselves? Would you still continue to see yourself as a word? If so, then you truly haven't let yourself go. Close your eyes and see your memory, your experience, where you are right now. Listen to the heart of your body beat and try to focus on the feeling you get and why you're getting it. Before words and language, we used to listen to ourselves, our feelings, that were free of labels, and judge ourselves that way. This helped us to move into directions that would fill the void and take us in the direction we were bound to go. Now, nothing I said will lead you to be successful, fully functional part of society, because though my words, I'm not trying to say what is right or wrong, just merely trying to let you know these words truly have no meaning in society, and only us as people have given them due to the time, experience, and culture we've grown up in. And it goes on. And the reason that I share that is when we take time to express with no filters and literally puke these thoughts, these feelings, these emotions, these situations, these scenarios onto a piece of paper, it gives ourselves a time to feel free. It allows our mind to stop trying to remember it and go back and forth, but to put it down and allow us to see it in a completely different way. It allows us to gain more control and more understanding. And sometimes not holding it in, but speaking it out and fully expressing it, and just talking really gives us the time and gives us the ability to feel free, to feel light, to feel that what we are is okay and who we are is enough. Because sometimes we question that. Am I perfect? No. But you're perfectly you. But you're not perfectly them. And that's the thing. All of us have been put here to be perfectly us. And that's what really gets to us, because we want to fit in crowds. We want to fit into society. Yet, at what sacrifice and what cost? Is this fitting in costing us the wealth, the sanity, the feeling of belonging? Because it's not about trying hard with others, but it's about accepting who we are. And that's hard and that takes time. But the saying goes, if you do what is easy, life becomes hard. And if you do what is hard, life becomes easy. So, what do we do here? A lot of this stuff has to do with our beliefs, the belief system, what we thought, what we've been taught. And what I thought was really interesting is like these simple words. And I still remember, like, when I was a kid, I made plans with a friend. And so I made plans for my friend. And that night, it was like me, my friend, we were going to go out, and there's going to be so many of us. And like, it was supposed to be like an epic, epic, epic night. But it didn't work out. And I still remember my friend saying, everything you do doesn't work out. And for him, it was a moment. But for me, it was an eternity. And I kept that in my head. Nothing works out for you. Nothing works out for you. And it became like almost a mantra. Anything you do doesn't work out. Anything that you do doesn't work out. Until eventually, I manifested and created it. To see that this is not working out. Nothing works out. And then it made me question, oh, I'm not good enough. Where later on, I realized that it was just a belief. Why do I believe that things don't work out? Where did this start from? You know, it's like when we feel these emotions inside of ourselves, instead of asking, why do I feel it? Say, how old is this emotion? How old is this feeling? Where did this start from? Because we weren't born like this. Things happened to us along the path that made us believe. That made us believe that this was who we are. So we start using the words, I am this. And anything that you say after I am ends up following you. Versus I feel. Well, you feel something. That's not you. So there's time and there's room for growth. But when you use the words I am, then you take that into yourself and you automatically personalize it and you feel as if there's no changing. And here there's somebody writing that speaking out or writing is useless. It brings us back all the bad feelings we tried to forget. But when we speak out and we write and we put this on, it brings us back to those feelings, because there's still things to learn in those feelings and those thoughts. Every time we try to forget them and cover them up with something else, good thoughts, happy thoughts, good thoughts, happy thoughts, what you do is there's a shift of balance. When you try to fill yourself up with only happy, only happy, only happy, only happy, you and eventually will balance out only bad, only bad, only bad. Life flows. It always will balance itself out. And when we think about this thing is bad, well, why is it bad? What is it that we can learn in this? Because everything that we have, everything that we feel, everything that we think, it's all there for us. It's all there to help us. It's all there for our growth. A lot of times we are afraid to deal with our shadows or deal with the things that make us feel uncomfortable. And, sometimes we're just not ready for it, and that's okay. But to think that we must be a certain way, that's what messes up the most. I must be happy. I must be a certain way. Why? Who told you that? Show me. Because these are the things that I'm very curious about. So when it comes to mental health, a lot of times, a lot of us, and myself included, would go crazy because we feel as I can't be who I am because people will judge me. Versus if I am who I am, I give people permission to be who they are. If I am who I am, I allow myself to be surrounded with more of the people that attract, more of the people that bring me up, more of the people that will understand me. Because the saying is, you can be in a crowd and still feel alone. Why? So learning these things about us, how do we express? How do we share? How do we get these things off? How do we give ourselves permission? I always thought that's such an interesting thing, that at one point in our life, it's as if we got it from our mother, we got it from our teachers, we got it from society. Yes, you can do this. Yes, you can go to the bathroom. Yes, you can get the juice. Yes, you can do that. And then eventually we get to a point in our life where we still are seeking permission externally, and we forget to give it to ourselves internally. We forget to give ourselves permission to be who we are, to be what we can be, permission to feel, permission to think, permission to grow. And this is why I say journal. Get that stuff out. Get those bad feelings out. Get those good feelings out. Get those memories out. Whether it's writing, whether it's voice recording, whether it's dancing, whether it's painting, whether it's photography, whatever your source of self-expression could be, harness it, get it, experience it, embrace it. And in that will help you find a lot of things. And also know that any problem that you're going through, somebody else has gone through, or somebody else is still going through. We don't have to suffer in silence. There's so many other people out there that we can share with, that we can talk to. So back to this. But life, as you're saying, life goes on, time flies, so opportunity. If we keep being busy facing what already happened just to grow, we are, when are we going to be able to live? Well, this question is very much, if you're holding on to something of the past and yet you're trying to move forward, how far can you go while you're still holding on to something? Not too far. And the things of the past, when we take time to face it, it actually helps us to better understand and get a better idea of where we are in the present, to free us to where we can go in the future. Now, this is not to dwell on, oh, I messed up, but to think about what could I have done better? How could I have approached it? Showing compassion for yourself, empathy for yourself, for that kind of growth. Growth is understanding the full facet of what we are. Not just where we are, but where we've been. Because when we take time to speak to our past, speak to that younger child, take time to speak to the younger version, we actually give ourselves permission and free ourselves to be who we are today. And that gives us the ability to be whatever we wish to be in the future. Because think about where you are right now. If you are right now, in the place that you are right now, are not getting the things that you want, are not designing the life that you want, are not reaching the goals and things that you want, that's due to a belief system. That's due to something that's said. That's due to a seed that was planted in your head. Sometimes we have to go back to the beginning. Sometimes we have to go back into the past. It's like the saying, sometimes like a bow and arrow, sometimes we have to go back before we can go forward. So yes, that is just things that I wanted to share. Talk about journaling, talk about self-expression, talk about giving yourselves permission, talk about worth. And this is not a one-day talk. This is an everyday talk. This is not going to just heal like that. This takes time. But this talk is about knowing that you're not alone. Even in my profile, I have a place that you can click, half an hour talk, let's go for it. This is not to sell you on something. This is not to get you part of a program. This is just to give half an hour of time to talk, to listen, to give advice. And I like this question before I go. It's, how can I know if I'm wise enough to talk to myself in the past? It's a really good question. Because you are. You are. You have the ability to do that. Close your eyes and picture yourself in the past. Close your eyes and picture those moments. Close your eyes. If you could say something to your younger self today, what would it be? There you go. You have the ability to speak to your past. If you could think of a scenario and give compassion to yourself, then you can do it. That's where the wisdom comes from, because the timeline of past, present, or future, we're constantly together. You can do it, and you have the ability to do it. Don't think about logic. Think about magic. Think about the ways that you can do it. What do you think about inner child work or protecting your inner child? I used to dismiss this, but I've realized the value of it recently. I'll tell you a little secret. Being an adult is the illusion. Being the child is what's so real. Speaking to your inner child is a beautiful thing. We are so interconnected, it's crazy. When you speak to your past, you allow yourself to be whatever it is in the future, and for yourself to be whatever it is in the future, in the present, for yourself in the future. So speak to your inner child. Hold their hand. Say the words to them that you wish somebody would say to, that would have said to you. I still remember being in Peru, and I was walking on the train tracks, and I used to walk on the train tracks when I was a kid, and I completely forgot about it. And I wrote a post about it, and I wrote something. It's like, I'm walking on the train tracks of my past, holding the hand of the inner child who people would never ask why he thinks that way. And I held their hand and I looked in their face and I asked them all the questions that nobody would ask him. And I listened as I felt that nobody else did. So when it comes to this kind of stuff, you have the ability to do it all. You have the ability to change. An experience in the past is just a snapshot, but we can always go back to that snapshot and rewrite it, rewrite our perspective, rewrite our focus, rewrite it all by having compassion for it all, by having a better understanding. The key thing that we have to understand is, if you knew it then, you wouldn't have done it now. But we had to do it then so we could be who we are today. So you can speak to your yesterdays. You can always speak to your yesterdays. Because if you think about it, if you are still carrying your yesterdays, then your yesterdays aren't yesterdays. Your yesterdays are actually todays. And when you're able to find a way to talk with it, feel it, learn from it, then your yesterdays will finally become those yesterdays. And then you can move on to another day, another time. See, I love this, and I love what you're writing here. If I was wise enough to say it, I would say, I'm sorry you had to deal with all this by yourself, and I'm sorry I could do nothing about it. But I like how you said, if I was wise enough. You are, you're so wise that you don't even realize how wise you are. Because you just said what you wish you could have said to your younger self right now in this moment. You told your younger self that you are there for them, that you love them, that there's at the time you didn't know what to do, but now you have more wisdom. You just said that to yourself. Now, take the message that you said right now in this message, in this post, and close your eyes and picture that younger self and say these words to them. Talk to them, embrace them. Because you have that. When we forget about the magic of this life, we take away the possibility to do anything and create anything that we want. When we think about not being able to achieve anything, not getting the things that we want, that's a belief that we need to work on. Even the other day, I was working on my belief system, and I wrote my dream in a safety box because I knew that I could probably achieve it. I went back to it, and I wrote things that, what do I want? Time, money, all this did not exist. And I could do whatever I want and create whatever I want. And I had the freedom to do whatever I want. What is it that I do? And why am I not doing it now? That's one of the most important things that, you learn. And I realized that I want to influence 1 billion people. I want to create properties or bring people there, and with them, we influence another 1 billion people. I want a goal so big that, I want a vision, not a goal. I want a vision so big that I will be smiling every single day of my life as I move towards it. And guess what? If the vision changes in a year, that's okay. Because we all change. But to be stuck onto an idea, stuck onto a belief, stuck on only one way, you take away the magic of it all. If you think about it like this, we live in a perfect universe. Why is the universe perfect? The universe is perfect because we have endless possibilities. That's why it's perfect. The world is not binary. It's not I do this or I don't. It's I do this or I do a little bit of the other thing or I do that, or you can do anything. But it's about reconnecting with that child of yours, reconnecting with that magic. Man, I have these conversations where if I think about my deathbed, the day that I die, I want to be in the hospital bed. And be like, what a magical world. So many possibilities, endless glory, endless good, endless whatever you want to call it, and just believe in this magic, believe in the possibilities, believe in it all. And even on my deathbed, if somebody came up to me and said, you were wrong, I would laugh and say, maybe I was, but I lived my life as if I wasn't. Versus, no magic. Business is this, everything is this, nothing can change, this is how it is. And then on my deathbed, a unicorn comes, it's just like, oh, you messed up. You know what I mean? Why not believe in the possibilities? Why not believe in the magic? Why not believe in the things that we can do? Why not believe in the fact that we are beings that can create endless possibilities in the lives that we want to create? Why not? I don't know. I don't know. Because that's all I think about. I spent the last couple of years especially like rewriting it. Anything that I want, I'm gonna get. And this is not an ego thing. This is not a pride thing. This is a vision thing. This is a heart thing. This is the idea that the universe has your back as long as you have your front. The universe wants to help you. And it will only help you if you tell it how to help you. Because you get what you give. You reap what you sow. This is why when we open our mouth, we have to be careful of the words that come out of it. The English dictionary, majority of the words are negative. Why? Because negative words are so easy. They're the easiest things to create. And yet we have these situations where like, oh, things are bad. Things are not going to go. Yeah, of course. But you know why it's limited with the positive words? Because they're more powerful. They can create more. They can get more. They can give more. They can manifest more. They can do whatever it is that you want. But if you were to think about this, every time you open your mouth, a seed popped out and it grew into a fruit of that word. Would you want to reap the harvest? Would you wish that harvest? Because I believe that the words that we speak create life. Words create worlds. So think about the wording that you're using. And now think about the world that you live in. Oh, but on the news there's negative things, and in the newspaper there's bad things, and this. What are you saying? Your words will create your world. Your words will create your perspective. Your thoughts don't. Your thoughts are just being picked up left, right, and center. It's your words that manifest. It's your words that create. It's your words that make you live in the reality that you want. Because how can it be that there are some people in prison that are more free than people that aren't in their head? So yes, there's the idea that dream bigger. But even if you aren't sure of how to dream bigger, because currently you might not be in that space, just do me a favor. Stop putting yourself as small. Making yourself smaller does not make people bigger. Breaking down your thoughts and your dreams does not make things become better for anyone. But finding ways to be true to yourself, taking times to reflect, to journal, to ask questions, you'll be able to create what it is that you want. And knowing that wherever you are loved, you are supported, and you will get through this. And right now with technology, there's free courses, there's free coaching, there's free anything. Well, I don't have money. Okay, so go online and find something for free. But also remember that I don't have something is only bringing more of that in your life. I can't wait to get more in my life. So I'm going to start. Well, now you're changing your brain. The reason why it's so easy to say negative things is because in your brain, your neural pathways have been carved like that. The more you say things, the easier it carves in until you have these nice little pivots. So to do something else feels difficult because what you're trying to do is you're trying to carve something else. And if you understand the idea of the brain, things that wire together, fire together. And you can always rewire your brain. And if you don't use it, you lose it. Isn't that funny? So if you stop using certain things, certain terminology, it'll change it up. I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, I used to get into a lot of fights. I used to run away from the police. I used to get into a lot of fights. A lot of interesting things would happen in my life. And I got to the point where I would literally be walking on the street like a little kid, just happy, like eating ice cream, and this big person or somebody would come up and be like, "What are you looking at? Let's fight." And I'm like, "But why?" I go to bars, I go to clubs, I go out, and people would constantly be trying to fight me. And I'm like, I don't understand what is going on here. Like, why is this happening? Years later, I changed my wording. I changed my lifestyle. I changed the people I hung out with. I changed my vision, my focus, my purpose. And what was so interesting about that was I would walk by the typical people that would normally try to start fights with me. And it was as if they couldn't see me anymore. Like, think about that. When you change things up a bit, and you change your focus when you change your focus, your mindset, your wording, it's almost as if you shift and you become a different, let's say, color. So when I was younger, I was orange, and all the angry oranges would see me, and they would easily see the oranges. Boom, let's fight with the oranges. But as I read and I changed and I shifted, I started to become almost like a green. So if the oranges only focus on the orange, I could easily walk in front of the orange as a green and they wouldn't see me. So if I could just change that, and that means the orange would not see the orange, because that's the spectrum and that's what they're saying, and the greens could start to see me. Well, the question is, what other things do I want to be present with, to be seen, and to connect with? That's where things started to change. That's where wording started to change. You know? Sometimes, there's so many books that talk about, here's your personality test. Oh, you're introverted, you're extroverted, and this is how you are. I agree that's a snapshot, but that's not who you are. What I agree with and what I think is very simple in here. When you create a vision of the person that you want to be, you can alter and change this. When you envision the individual, you can become that, and your personality and everything will shift and alter. It's like, what would this person do in this situation? And then learn. And sometimes this sounds crazy because you're like, well, but that's not me, and I want to be true to myself. But you're constantly changing, you're constantly evolving. Think about it like this. Beyonce, because she grew up as a church girl, to go on stage and to shake her butt the way she does, it was against the individual that she was. So she created an alter ego called Sasha Fierce. And she wrote down, who is Sasha Fierce? When Sasha Fierce goes on stage, what does she do? What does she create? And when she went on stage, she was not Beyonce. She was Sasha Fierce. She became Sasha Fierce. She danced like Sasha Fierce. She did everything Sasha Fierce did, until later on, Sasha Fierce and Beyonce were the same. So now here comes the saying, well, I don't want to fake it. There's nothing faking about it. Believe it until you achieve it. Believe that you can run. Believe that you can be successful. Believe that you can do these things. And then in your mind, what would a person that you believe that you could be, and what would they do? And then start doing that. And then start rewiring your brain and start becoming these things, and then start manifesting and creating these things in your own life. It's like the funny thing is, misery loves company. But so does success. So I just went on a literally just a rant for the last little bit, which has been fun. I literally I wanted to come on and just talk about journaling and, the effects and the power that journaling has, but I ended up expressing and speaking a lot more on completely different subjects. Before I go off, is there anybody else here that would like to ask me a question? Um, I'm definitely open for it. And if somebody is seeing this recording or listening to this on my podcast, just go to my Instagram, The Awakening Self. On my profile, you can do two things. One, send me a DM. Two, go to my profile and click on the link and schedule a 30-minute call with me. And this is, like I said, 30 minutes talk. There's no charge, there's nothing to it. This is just me and you having a conversation, going in things, or just having somebody there just to listen and support. I want to give people the things that I wish I had in my life, and I want to share it with everybody because that's how I envision it, and that to me shows it's like me giving worth. It's like it's like giving more into the world, and I know that the more you give, the more you receive, and the more you receive, the more you can give, and hence the loop grows and grows and grows bigger. So yes, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody to listening to the rant and going on with it. For everybody for their questions and for being part of this. Know that you're not alone. Express. Grab those dictionaries. Grab your journals. Do your dance. Do your colors. Mindful of your word. Be compassionate to yourself, and you will get through it, and you will achieve it. And if you're unsure, ask. And if you don't know who to ask, I'm there. Trust me, I'm always there. If you need me, just DM me, just talk to me, because the greatest gift we can give others are the things that we learned ourselves. Cool. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day, have a good night, have a good something. Talk to you guys later. Bye bye.